Good day and welcome back to another DBZ Dokkan Battle video. In this video we are going to be taking a look at the INT LR Super Saiyan 4 Goku, and we're going to be taking a look at him at 100% in the hidden potential system. So we've taken a look at him at 55% and he was pretty awesome. But now we're going to be taking a look at him at 100% and getting a real feel for just what his maximum power is. And I have a feeling it's going to be pretty good. He obviously leads GT Heroes for power categories. He also provides an extra 30% for those who belong to Hybrid Saiyans, Pure Saiyans. He raises his defense for 1 turn, raises his defense for 4 turns on his 18 key. And he has key plus 3, attack and defense of 150%, and an additional key plus 1 per key sphere obtained. An additional attack is 70% when performing a super attack, high chance of outperforming a crit if it's an ultra super. An additional attack is 70% within the same turn, and an additional defense of 70% for 3 turns after receiving or evading an attack. And he reduces damage received by 20%, which is pretty good. He gets an additional defense of 70% and an additional damage reduction of 20% as the first attacker in the turn. And his standby skill can be activated after he's received an attack 5 or more times in battle. And when he standbys, he will enter the Super Saiyan 4 Goku and Majube state, where he's unable to attack, has defense of plus 300%, reduces damage received by 10% per type key sphere obtained, guards all attacks with 3 or more types key spheres obtained, or allies get key plus 3 and defense is 70% for 2 turns from start turn, and he randomly changes 1 key sphere of a certain type to INT key spheres. Also nullifies all unarmed super attacks directed at the character. Basically, can't actually take damage. Should you reach the charge limit of 30, you will then have him transform into Super Saiyan 4 full power Goku. However, if you get less than 30, you will have 30% additional HP added back and key plus 3 for 3 turns. Should you get the required amount of orbs, which is pretty easy, you will turn into Super full power Saiyan 4 Goku, who recovers 77% HP, guards all attacks for 1 turn from start turn, performs a critical hit for 3 turns from start turn, has key plus 7, and also has an additional 2 key per INT key sphere or rainbow key sphere obtained, attack and defense of 200%, an additional 1 key sphere per time key sphere obtained, an additional attack of 150% when performing super attack, and a great chance of performing a critical hit if it's an ultra super attack, an additional attack of 59%, and a guaranteed critical hit when key is 24, and an additional defense of 77% for 5 turns after receiving or evading attack, damage reduction of 25%, and an additional defense of 77%, damage reduction of 25% as the first attacker in the turn. Super Saiyan, shocking speed, GT, prepared for battle, Saiyan Raw, fierce battle, legendary power, and he's on a lot of categories. Pure Saiyan's full power, T-Boost, Goku's family, Kamehameha, All Out Struggle, Giant Ape Power, Connect the Hook, Total School, Miraculous Awakening, GT Heroes, Bond of Friendship, Accelerated Battle, Entrusted Will, Battle of Fate, Power Beyond Super Saiyan, Bond of Parent and Child, Earthbred Fighters, and Power of Wishes. A lot of categories. The only real hindrance that Goku has is that he has half of his damage reduction until he is the first attacker. For those who don't know how first attacker works, basically Goku has to be placed in the first slot, and then the opposition either has to fire no attacks or fire at least 1 attack for the full passive to kick in. For example, if you were to look at Goku in a turn where the enemy is attacking before he does, if you watch very carefully, you can actually see his stats change at the bottom of the screen after the opposition has fired off their 1 attack. That is because once the opposition fires their first attack, Goku then has his position as attacker solidified. It's very weird that the game does this, and hasn't replaced this with obtaining key orbs, which is quite an important difference, but it is what it is. Overall, Goku's really good. This isn't so much as a big problem for him, as it is just something you have to be aware of. The Majube and Goku form basically cannot be destroyed, which is pretty helpful. Guarding all attacks, they create into key spheres, which makes it pretty easy to obtain that, and at any point if you get 50% key spheres or anything, you basically have 50% damage reduction, 5 key spheres, you have 50% damage reduction, guard, and 300% defense. It's pretty difficult to have any boss damage that, and I think if any boss ever does damage that, like by a lot, I think we're in the wrong space, because that is a very strong defensive unit. Now of course, yeah, I think Goku and its transformation is pretty easy. I don't think you should fail the transformation unless you're like super unlucky or you intentionally fail, which I've done once to obtain, to do a short basically. But essentially, it's not hard to get a transformation. Overall, I think Goku's great. He is definitely more first slot unit than second slot unit. Although he has really good defense, we're talking like 700k, 600k. When Goku's in that first slot, by the way, 24 million. When Goku's in that first slot, he can have such high damage reduction that coupled with his really decent attack stats and defense stats basically means that he is exceptional as a first slot tank and also does ridiculous damage. We're talking about a unit that basically can hit 24, 25, 23, 22 million with a guaranteed crit. You can build him full additional. His defense after super will be very big depending on how many stacks you're holding, but very close to 1 million and 50% damage reduction. It's pretty good. I'm not gonna lie, it's what I would consider top 5 material, definitely one of the best units in the game. For me, the only inconsistency is that first attacker principle, making sure you can get through essentially the first turn is probably where things are hardest for Goku. And then obviously as well on top of that, when you run 2 of them, you have to kind of keep them separate, because even though the second Goku can be pretty strong defensively, can still take a fair chunk of damage in the second slot because they lose some of that damage reduction, and that is pretty important to their functionality. So definitely something to consider. I think overall though, Goku's great. Link wise, obviously prioritize like Saiyan Raw if you can, or GT. Those are super duper crucial links. Prepared for Battle though is obviously great, shocking speed, lots of coverage key wise, and then you have Fierce Battle, Legendary Power, kind of the traditional links, and Super Saiyan of course. I think overall for me, Goku is definitely a unit that benefits from a link leveling. Give him gear, link level him, and you will see a much improved Goku. Between Prepare for Battle, GT and Saiyan Raw, I think he gains like 20% or 25% defense, which is pretty good. But yeah, overall, really awesome unit. Love using him. I think he's great. Been using him a ton. And yeah, I really enjoy it. Bye.